Danny Bench is tying it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the wall. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Reds win. Line to the right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
Welcome in to Chatterbox Reds on a Sunday night. Nick, Trace, we're here to break down all the riveting action that is the Cincinnati Reds, and by riveting, I mean just complete and utter dysfunction. Nick, it's 9:07. We sat around pre-show thinking about what is it that the people want to hear. What is it you could possibly say on a night like tonight that could either rally the troops, perhaps in the hope, and or perhaps provide some semblance of some entertainment on this Sunday night. And well, we're starting at 9:07, and I don't know if we ever actually came up with a theory on what we're going to do tonight, but we're going to try our best anyways. And I got to tell you, I don't know where I'm going to go on this show, other than the fact that I know that I'm a bit perturbed, by a handful of partially Reds influencers and partially Reds fandom. We'll get into that later in the show. So that's the tease that I got for you. But other than that, Nick, I hope you had a wonderful Sunday. Had to have been better than the Reds' 9th inning.
Yeah, I had a great day. Had a good weekend. Parents are in town, so we're living good. Yeah. Mom made steak tonight. Had a lovely dinner. I mean,
when you order a steak, what do we order? Are we rare, medium rare, well?
I dabble between medium to medium well. Okay. What about you?
I don't think I ever go above medium.
I full disclosure, I probably would prefer medium more often than not. Sometimes I get medium well just because the thought of blood disgusts my wife. Okay. So sometimes it's a business decision for me to go medium well.
Understood. You just have to chew a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Fair. All right. Well, whatever you got to do to make the wife happy, that's approved by me.
If I'm making them myself, it's the second it hits that 140, I take it off.
Fair. Okay, you got it down to the exact number, and that's good. I'm glad that you understand the cooking temperatures.
Gotta be safe.
What most Reds fans don't understand is the cooking temperatures of this baseball team for quite some time. We'll get into that here in a little bit. As always, if you're new here, we go live in the 9th outside of Sundays. Sunday nights, we commiserate together on the week-long journey that is being a Reds fan in the middle of August at this point in 2026. I got to tell you, this is the first time I've done it. The first time I've done it, Nick, I opened up the calendar and I just looked to see how many more games were left. That's where I was at tonight, just trying to get an idea of how much longer we have to go. I feel like I'm in the middle of a movie at this moment that I'm not pleased to be at, yet I'm stuck there. I'm looking around, trying to see if I have an ability to get out of the aisle without making an interruption and seeing if I couldn't just possibly sneak out to go walk around and check out the lobby to see what movies might be coming available in the near future. Because the one I'm watching at the current moment just doesn't hold my attention, and I'm ready to go. But we're professionals, at least some, well, not really, but some are saying we should be. So I'm going to be my best, and I'm going to try to put my best effort in on a nightly basis and provide some semblance of entertainment / realistic perspective / and analysis of this piss poor baseball team. So, where do we start? I think there's only one place to start, and that's just the box score recap presented by Sharefax.
Yes, your box score recap presented by Sharefax Credit Union. Money conversations don't have to be boring like our Cincinnati Reds. Check out the Financial podcast from Sharefax Credit Union, where Paris and Adam interview Cincinnati area guests with fun and interesting careers and explore the financial side of their jobs. They recently sat down with Reds infielder Matt McLain to discuss baseball's upcoming collective bargaining agreement and some wild potential rule changes. Watch or listen to the Financial podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. That is Financial, F-U-N, and then Ancial, A-N-C-I-C-A-I-L. Oh, boy. We're off the rails. All right, Reds taking on the Marlins, the rubber game of 3 at Great American Ballpark. Nick Lodolo up against Yuri Perez. The good Nick Lodolo threw 5 shutout innings in his second start back off the IL. He would leave the game with 77 pitches. Final line, 5 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. The bad news, Yuri Perez was even better. He threw 6 shutout innings. He only yielded 2 hits. Now, the game was still scoreless heading into the 8th inning after Julian Garcia threw 2 shutout innings. He struck out 4 batters, just gave up 1 hit, no walks. But at the top of the 8th, TJ Antone gave up a solo home run. Just got over the left field wall to put the Marlins up 1-0. Then with 2 outs, Antone got a ground ball, pretty routine, that should have ended the inning. But Ellie De La Cruz overthrew the first baseman, Sal Stewart. And that would prove to be costly as that run ended coming around a score on a bases-loaded walk from Antone, 2-0 Marlins. Tyler Stevenson came off the bench on his 30th birthday and hit a solo home run to make it 2-1 after 8. A little bit of energy in the ballpark after that, but that was quickly erased due to Ron Marinaccio. Ron Marinaccio gave up 5 runs in the top of the 9th. After he gave up the 5 runs, there was errors by Michael Toglia and another one from Ellie De La Cruz. No additional runs, but that would end up being the final score. Reds lose 7-1 to the Marlins. Reds now 59-64, and the Reds are 7 games out of a playoff spot.
All right, we got a deep drive of the day coming off the bat of the birthday boy, Tyler Stevenson. And as I was driving home from one of the Chatterbox championships, I was listening to Tommy Thrall on the call. And I got to tell you, the most absurd call I've heard maybe in the last 10 years came after this at bat. We'll get into that later in the show. I'm just going to kind of keep teasing you because that's the only way I think I can get you to hang around at this point, if I'm being completely honest. Tyler Stevenson, 99 off the bat, 390 feet, 26 degrees on the launch angle for those that have the T9 calculators out. 30% winning probability. That would actually be a jump from 14, well, roughly 16%, I guess, if you're doing your math right at home. But nonetheless, we all know it would wind up being 0%. The Deep Drive of the Day is brought to you by the Braxton Brewing Company. Braxton is the official craft beer partner of the Cincinnati Reds. You can crack open a Ballpark Beer, crisp German-style light beer crafted perfectly for 9 innings and hot summer nights. You can grab a cold one at Great American Ballpark, Braxton Taprooms, or your local retailer. Braxton Brewing is brewed for Reds country.
Trace, I was also listening to the radio. I have to say, shout out to Tommy Thrall at Jeff Brantley. If you had just tuned in to the game and you hadn't watched or listened to the Reds in a while, when Tyler Stevenson hit that home run, you would have thought he just made it 2-1 game in Game 4 of the NLDS. I mean, they're not mailing it in. They were all in. They were excited. And you know what? Hey, that's what you do. Yeah. Marty Brenneman said something a long time ago that always has stuck with me. Said, how do you get through all these brutal seasons? He said, every game's its own thing. Every game deserves its own attention. I don't think I could do that. I don't think really our show necessarily merits that. But a radio broadcast does. And so shout out to those guys for not mailing it in.
Yeah, and I would also say the one thing you'd taken away out of that game is that you would have also thought that Ellie De La Cruz's ball that he hit basically right after Tyler Stevenson would have won Becky a new Toyota Tundra down there at the ballpark, because it sounded as if it was going over the riverboat, yet it was caught at the warning track. I mean, seriously, Nick, I'm driving in my car. I'm like, wow.
They both thought it was out. Both.
I mean, it was like, it's a deep drive. It's gone. No, caught at the track. I'm like, what the hell? We just went from that ball being so far. I mean, I had visions of that thing going over the moon deck. But what's it matter? It doesn't matter. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Let's get into it. Might as well. The Reds lose the series, and let's just get into the first point that I had talked about, which is I'm a little perturbed. I'm perturbed at the idea. I can't tell if people got like bits, if they're doing bits now on social media, if they're just trying to keep people entertained, if they're trying to make sure that they don't want to lose their audience, so they come up with these storylines that, oh, this guy's doing this and that guy's doing that, and this team we look better here, and don't look now, but maybe this team will get hot. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous stuff. I can't figure out if they're being serious or not. If they're not being serious, I don't like disingenuous people. If they are being serious, they're just complete and utter buffoons, because this team has not been good for the vast majority of this year. And I'm so tired of this narrative that, if this would have gone right or that would have gone right. We are so far away from being good. It's disgusting. And I get the idea that you can sit here and latch on to the fact that, yeah, Sal Stewart's a really good player. Ellie De La Cruz, obviously outside of the day, for the most part, is a really good player. I know today's not the really day to maybe go all in on the Ellie bandwagon fandom. Yeah, you could sit here and say that Chase Burns is fantastic, and if you paired him up with the hypothetical situation of Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo and Andrew Abbott, look how great we are. We got Rhett Lauder possibly coming into the fold. Look at, you got these young guys coming up. Do this song and dance all you want, okay? We're the Cleveland Browns of the NFL. You can say whatever you want. You can sit here and act like we're not. We are. We are. It's hard to see the own mess that you're in sometimes. I ask Cleveland fans out of just basically, humor. At the beginning of every NFL season that I know. A couple of the NFL guys that I know, hey, you're a Cleveland Browns fan. How's the season going to go? Nick, I don't give a damn what they say. I just want to laugh at and chuckle at the concept of them thinking they have a chance of being relevant and good when they're not good every single year for year on year on year on year. And then every so often, the bus stops at at Beverly Hills Hotel. And you would think that they have their own mansion there. Just because we get a glimpse of the playoffs once every decade doesn't mean a damn thing to me. I'm talking about the fact is we are the Cleveland Browns of the NFL. That's who we are. And until we just admit it, you're lying to yourself. We're not even remotely close to being good. And if you are if you are a content creator or you have a social platform or you're a baseball writer or you're somebody that's supposed to spew some kind of, intelligence to the mass public about what this team is, you have been disingenuous or an idiot for the last month and a half to 2 months if you thought this team was worth a damn. And if you think for a single second that I'm going to give you an out because this ownership group or the coaching staff or heaven forbid this front office trying to tell me that we're going to go for something or we're going to try to give it a chance or whatever the hell we spewed around the trade deadline, give me a break. The fact that Tyler Stephenson's even on this team hitting home runs is pissing me off. You got a guy that's coming off the bench now hitting home runs. Hitting home runs last week. Has been seeing the ball excellent for basically 2 months has been seeing the ball well. And you're telling me you're such a piss-poor salesman you can't find one of these teams that needs somebody possibly to get themselves into the postseason? I know right now the White Sox wish they had him. And I know right now I wish I had any glimmer of hope in AA or AAA to make me think we might have a relevant team. But now I see the same buffoons telling me we had a chance 2 months ago. Turn around, Nick. Now we have to sign Tyler Stephenson. We got to extend him. Pay the man what he wants. Blank check, Tyler Stephenson. You guys kill me. At the beginning of the year, you were telling me how bad he was. This team doesn't have to extend anybody. Nobody. They're terrible. They're not even remotely close to being good. And if you want to convince yourself of that, go ahead. But I'm not here for it, and I'm not even going to entertain it anymore. I've tried to sit on my hands for 2 weeks being, don't be the pessimist. Be the optimist. Come in every show and just say, you know what? Our playoff odds have only dipped 0.2%. They went from 0.8 to 0.6. That's okay. We're going to be fine. And everybody's like, man, Tyler Stephenson. Yeah, he's a pretty decent player. Should have traded him and gotten some prospects back. And then if you wanted to re-sign him, guess what? They don't penalize you for that in the offseason, Nick, believe it or not. Nick Krall still got a job, and to be fair, I don't even know if he's the problem anymore. I don't know who's the problem. I don't know what's coming and what's going, but the thing that stinks is that I think there's a I think that there's a decent population of people that listen to the show casually or see me on the internet casually and just assume that I'm always ranting and raving and just talking about how bad things are or I'm a negative. I'm just trying to spew the truth. I'm just trying to spew the truth. I would tell you wholeheartedly if I felt like something was great that this organization was doing it. I did it back in 2023. But there's nothing that I can sit here and say, Nick, without a shadow of doubt that this team does excellent. In fact, the only other thing I'm going to go off on, I'm sure at some point tonight, is that the one thing that I thought maybe, you know what? Spare me the Sam LeCure telling me that Tito's worth 10 wins, but maybe he is worth holding people accountable. Maybe we won't have as many base running mistakes. Maybe these young players will be held accountable and they will grow and get better and they won't make lazy mistakes time and time again. Yet, I got news for you. That's continued to happen. And I'm supposed to get on here and rant and rave or have a discussion about this baseball team on a nightly basis and not be negative. It's impossible when you have to watch them. It's impossible. Nick, I don't know where you go from there, but that's probably that rounds it up for me for the show. When you're ready to be done, you can go to the MILB probably.
I had to unmute myself. I was just going to let you go. I didn't want any breaths or anything to get into your masterpiece there.
Yeah.
I like that. We can clip that up. I could put the Reds or the Cleveland Browns. I mean, you just gave me some content. I mean,
no problem.
We're rolling here. It's just hard to take a baseball team seriously that's playing TJ Friedel. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to just be a hater here on this, but like, what is the point? Like, you either, if you're the Reds, you have to be one of two things right now. You have to either be delusional that you still have a chance of making the playoffs, or you're trying to play young players. TJ Friedel doesn't help the Reds make the playoffs because this guy stinks. He's done. He's 0 for 24 since the All-Star break. He's hitting $160 this season. I mean, he legitimately, Trace, has the worst weighted runs created plus in the history of the Cincinnati Reds organization of anyone with 240 plate appearances. He is the worst, and they're continuing to run him out here. He's done after this year. So, like, he's not helping the team win. There's younger players. Like, it's just, it's not just TJ Friedel, but he's the perfect example of what's wrong with this organization. It's that this organization will play TJ Friedel right now at this point. That tells you everything you need to know about how bad of a spot the Reds are in.
Here's the situation. Tito's not in this thing for the long haul. Okay, I think we all probably could see that, and I'm not here to say that. I'm not here to say it's his job to look after an organization that you would maybe make the case that it's better to try to just focus on what 2027 or 2028 would be. He probably views his job as his job is to win the game that day. And these are the players he has at his disposal. What's the best way I can put this thing together to try to win? And that's sounds good on the surface, and I think it's a good concept in theory for the manager more times than not. But for where this organization is and for what this team is at this moment, that's just not the way that this whole thing should go down. And you know, we unfortunately have not gotten enough new content from this organization and the Reds team specifically to be able to not keep belaboring points that we've already made on previous shows, which becomes a little frustrating, I'm sure, to many people that listen to this podcast at times. It's like, oh, would we have to really go down this path yet again? I'm not going to do that tonight, and that probably will make maybe my analysis of where we're at a little short. But there's just no leadership. There's no leadership. And I'm not sure who's responsible for that exactly. And maybe it's the ownership group. But there's no clear direction on what we're trying to do. Because, as I've said before, one managerial decision / move contradicts other decisions that have been made. And case in point would just be Hector Rodriguez. They moved Nathaniel Lowe because they had to have Hector Rodriguez up here. Yet, are we doing what's best for Hector Rodriguez's development by utilizing him in the way that he's being utilized right now? I think it's pretty safe to say no. What are we going to do with Marte? I just, there's so many questions that there's not answers to, and we're not going to get answers to them. So it honestly becomes like, it just becomes like borderline give up mode. I hate to say that, but that's where I'm at. I just give up on it. I'll sit here and I'll let it all play out and hopefully wait for cooler heads to prevail, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe they're just going to wait the CBA thing out and then they'll start making some big, bold decisions. But we've gone without a pitching coordinator in this entire organization now for 4 months and haven't got a word out of it. 3 months, however long it's been.
That is crazy that there hasn't even been.
Yeah. We don't even have
even just like a hey, he still needs more personal time. Okay, like something feels like
and clearly not to be overly like crude about it, because I do think that there are situations that happen in life where you need personal time, and that's fine. Nick, let's call a spade a spade. This is a bigger deal than just personal time. You don't leave your job that you get paid significantly for this long without there being some real strain in the organization on, what's what. And I would say too, if you're going to be out that long, then I think that there's a clear indicator on, yes, it's important that you can have a private life, but when you have a public job like the pitching coordinator of an entire franchise, you don't get the luxury of just having nothing said about it for months on end. You kind of have to have like, hey, there's a health concern within the family. There's something that comes out that's a little more detailed than just some blanket canvas statement that, hey, he needs personal time.
Yeah, I agree. It could be vague, but yeah, I agree. Like it's crazy that there's nothing. It's just, again, and I'm a pretty easy guy to please. Like, I could get on board with a terrible season if like you're at least just playing prospects. They're just doing nothing to make this even remotely exciting. Like they
didn't even get prospects at the deadline to give you even a chance to get excited about anybody. I mean, that's the most disheartening thing about it is like, I mean, yeah, maybe you don't get what you wanted out of Stevenson, right? Maybe you wouldn't have. You're telling me you couldn't have got another like, borderline Hector Rodriguez A-type level player that you stick down there with Tyson Lewis? So you have LeBron, Tyson Lewis, and some random kid now that we can be excited with. And yeah, maybe it's fool's gold, but I'll take fool's gold out of a guy that's doing nothing besides drive his price up for this organization if we do try to extend him. Like, I'll shut up.
They traded away their best hitter this year against right-handed pitching to get Hector Rodriguez called up. Hector Rodriguez was acquired at the trade deadline for a player that is not even remotely close to as good as Tyler Stevenson. All due respect to Tyler Naquin, he was not even having a good season. He doesn't play catcher. He was a terrible defensive center fielder, and they got him.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand. Like that's what we're talking about. Like we're belaboring the same point we've already made. But let's talk about one other thing really quickly. And let's get into the show. All right, I know this isn't what you want, and I know this is tough. But Ellie today was relatively inexcusable. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if he needs a day off. I don't know if someone needs to set him aside and just say, yeah, you've struggled from a statistical perspective. You've struggled for a little bit at the plate, but that can't bleed into these other parts of your game. And even if, put it this way, even if you don't think it is doing that, sometimes you got to be reminded that it actually might be that, and that way you can be a little cognizant of it. I'm sure that in your life and many of our lives that are listening to this, there are times where you don't really realize that you're being a certain way. You're not trying to be that way, but you don't realize you're being that way until someone just says, hey, like, you might be short with the kids or short with your wife, and your, wife is like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's the problem? And you kind of like do a self-reflection for a couple seconds. You're like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know why I'm being like that. So, let me like recalibrate and refocus and change my perspective on things right now. I don't know if that's what needs to happen with Ellie right now or not, but it's like, if he's going to be the leader of this organization, then he just can't have the days that he's had a handful of times over the past month. And yes, when you are the star or one of the faces of the organization, like it or not saying he should be, but that's what he is, you're going to be held to a higher standard, like it or not. And I thought Tito Francona was going to be a guy that wasn't going to fly with, and yet now here we are where this has happened a couple times. And I don't even, let me just say this, I don't think Ellie doesn't care. I don't think Ellie is inherently careless and lazy and like the guy cares about what he does. He's very good at what he does. I do think, though, he's younger. He's playing for a team that's terrible. He's also trying to probably get through the season like the rest of us are right now. And sometimes you got to be reminded that you're a professional and that you need to just try to take all the external factors out of it and just focus on what you're supposed to do and show up to the ball yard every day and give it your best. And I think that that's probably a discussion that needs to be had. Hopefully, I would like to think that Tito could do that, and my guess is that he will, but that's my only takeaway my only other takeaway from today is just, unfortunately, Ellie's mental lapses, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, the optics were really bad today. I mean, with the way that game was going, and then that second one, yeah, it's a terrible look. Yeah, I had the same thought. Like, it's like, this is what Francona is supposed to be good at. Like, if David Bell was Ellie De La Cruz's manager, people would be all over David Bell for this right now. You can hate me for saying that, but it's the truth. Like, David Bell just keeps letting Ellie get away with this. That would be it. It would be it. I agree. Terry Francona is the Hall of Fame manager that's supposed to correct things like this. And there just hasn't been. And just the Reds' problems are much deeper than Tito. But, I mean, what players have gotten better under Terry Francona? Some pitchers?
Yeah, and the thing is I'll still stand up to the notion that I don't think it's his responsibility to make guys better. I do think it's maybe his responsibility to put guys in their best position to be successful on a night-in, night-out basis. But as far as development goes, I don't know if that's his responsibility. But to your point, when you've got sold this bill of goods as one of the main reasons as to why he's supposed to be better than the last guy you had, it's hard not to hold him to that standard, fair or unfair. That's the standard that was set by other people. I mean, we had guys that, again, and I like Sam. I'm not trying to pick on Sam, but, the notion that Terry Francona is a 10-win player, that came out of his mouth. I mean, that, not to be, and some of that's facetious. Some of it's just trying to be like, hey, let's be excited about it. But
you're a salesman.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, we could put to bed the idea that a manager is going to fix any relatively significant problems. It really comes down to the core of whether or not you have a good roster. And Tito doesn't have a good roster at all. And he didn't have a good roster in Philadelphia, which is why he got fired there. And he wasn't a Hall of Fame manager there. And it's going to be a reason as to why he's not a Hall of Fame manager in Cincinnati, is because when Tito Francona doesn't have good players, like every other manager in the history of baseball, Tito Francona magically isn't a good manager. They don't win games. It's a really weird thing, Nick. It's almost like when he went to Boston, they had a world-class baseball team. And when they had a world-class baseball team, they won games. And that little small magic charm that Terry Francona is able to provide, man, that's like the cherry on top of the cake. It's not the cake. That's what a manager is. it's, it's basically the garnish, okay? Let's not sit here and act like it's the meat and potatoes of everything. That's we can put that to bed too now on this show. If we want to start sitting here and start slaying a bunch of dragons about things that you're supposed to get excited for or not get excited for in the offseason, let's put the manager thing aside for the rest of life. Okay? If you got an 80-win baseball team and they hire the manager and that's your biggest offseason acquisition, guess what? Be prepared to be pissed off. And that's what happened. That was the selling point to us a couple years ago. Was, hey, Ellie had a sore quad. TJ Friedel was hurt for a little bit. We didn't have all of our starters. And, oh, by the way, we brought in Tito Francona. That's going to do it. And to be fair to him, they did make the postseason last year, but they won 83 games. And that's kind of the sad reality is that, we've already jumped around. Could you imagine Zach Taylor? Okay. Could you imagine Zach Taylor winning 9 football games one year, Nick? They make the postseason. They get beat 35-0 in the first round of the NFL game. And 2 or 3 years later, people are going to still point back to that year and say, well, Zach Taylor took them to the playoffs. Nick. No, they don't do that. So why are we going to do that with an 83-win baseball team that was managed by Terry Francona? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
All the other teams fighting for that last playoff wild card spot all had their quarterbacks hurt.
yeah, exactly. they caught the 2 teams ahead of them. Then they both, their place kickers had broken legs and their quarterbacks lost their arms. I don't know. I mean, I'm done with the analogies for tonight because I've already overused my stay here. But we're in a tough spot as Reds fans. I think if you're a Reds fan at this moment, you're listening on a daily basis, you're just trying to have a bit of comedic relief on a nightly basis, and then you're looking forward to what's on TV tomorrow that's maybe not the Reds. But I don't know where we go from here. Outside the fact that if there's love in the air, Nick, there's one place to go, and that's what we need to do. We need to remember that there is love in this life, and if you have someone that you do love, boy, oh boy, you better hold on to it tight because I got news for you. You better make sure you don't miss that one, because if you're thinking that this baseball team in Cincinnati is gonna take you to the promised land or provide you with the love of your life, you're gonna be sorely mistaken. And Nick, if you got someone you love, where do you go?
Well, engagement ring shopping should feel exciting because it is, Trace. Engagement ring shopping feels intimidating at times, but the team at Richter and Phillips walks you through everything with a no-pressure environment. You don't need to know anything going in. They explain diamond settings, share every piece of knowledge they have to help you get it right. They can work with any budget, so you can leave confident and excited, not feeling overwhelmed. Check out Richter and Phillips, open late every Thursday until 8 p.m.
All right, we do have some super chats, and we have some good super chats. I've been looking through them, and I appreciate everybody that's supered already tonight. Lane Jordan says, Lodolo's out of gas after 77 pitches? Man, he's a grinder. One word Crawl can use to describe Nick Lodolo to other teams. Tough. This guy's tough. My Lord, says Lane. Yeah, that summer sun was beating down on him. No, in all seriousness, listen, if he has if he has the ability to have a really good relationship with that blister, or the finger that the blister does arise on, I want him to know exactly when that thing's about to come to be and to just say, hey, he's done. I'm out of here. Which
I gotta be honest though. At this point, if the Reds plan, and it's a very slim chance of them actually doing it, but if they're thinking, all right, let's just try to get Lodolo to the end of the season healthy and trade him the first time we can, I fully support 4 inning starts the rest of the year. But I don't think they'll actually do that.
I'm sure the other general managers won't even notice that he's 4 inning starts.
Maybe that's why we went 5. That's why we went 5.
Yeah. What's going to end up happening is my guess is that he'll end up, if he does get traded or he gets picked up from somebody, he'll go to a really, really good organization that's willing to pay him semi-starter money. They'll throw him in the bullpen. He'll never have another blister issue for the rest of his career. He'll be a shutdown arm, left-handed arm in the bullpen for another 7 or 8 years, and everyone's going to be like, "Wow, why didn't the Reds think about that?" I'm like, I don't know. I thought the same thing about a guy named Luke Weaver, believe it or not. I mean, this really crazy thought that maybe this guy has the ability to throw the ball for an inning or two really, really well, and then he gets touched up after that. Maybe it would work in the bullpen. But now I digress. Now it's going to be Lodolo's like, wow, he had blisters issues. It always arise after like the 4th or 5th inning. Why not just throw him 1 or 2 innings? I don't know. Jacob Doyle says, Nick, the MLB top 100 prospects got updated and draft picks got added in. Steele Hall dropped from 57 to 92. Your thoughts?
Steele Hall's done absolutely nothing to get dropped. I mean, that's just draft picks kind of just bumping them up. I have a much higher level of belief in Steele Hall than I did at the beginning of the year. And I think most people that follow prospects would feel the same way. So that's just more of a, I don't know. These guys are high draft picks.
Yeah, we got to.
And he's so young
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to make room for the Charlie Condons of the world that just got drafted. That they got to be top-rated prospects. And speaking of which, I got to keep up with him. I don't know. I know he was making his way, getting closer and closer to the big leagues. Is he broken yet or no? You know?
I don't think so. But any list that doesn't have Justin LeBron in the top 100 can't be trusted. I mean, are you kidding me? Are we talking about a week? I mean, they had to cancel the game today in Lake County just because they could not fathom him stepping on their field and just absolutely torching the entire Northeast Ohio area. They had to cancel the game, not even rescheduling it. They're so terrified, Trace.
My favorite text that we've gotten in the group chat in the last month came from Craig Sandland when I think Mike Hart said, LeBron, first home run. Immediate text after, Jordan had 3. That's an elite text. That's an elite text. Flat Rock 79 says, reactivate retired third base Roger Dorn ASAP. Yeah. It's a good movie.
Do you know who managed Michael Jordan in the minor leagues?
Terry Francona. Yeah. In fact, I remember Terry Francona giving interviews about how they used to go golfing at really, really nice country clubs when Michael Jordan was on the team. And as soon as he left, all of those perks magically went away. Seemed as if all the guests at the local country clubs at the minor league parks were willing to let a guy named Michael Jordan come. But as soon as they heard about Terry Francona, they're like, no, it's not available. Anno says, I think after a terrible series like this, or sweeps, we need a segment on the most positive moment that happened during the series. Not a terrible thought.
I like that. Oh. Julian Garcia throwing 2 shutout innings, 4 strikeouts today. He's got to be up there. I mean, that's impressive. Guy from Independent Ball.
Yeah. Yeah, next Fernando Cruz.
I don't know, they only scored 1 run on Friday, so
not a lot of positives. They won.
I'm going Julian Garcia. If you have something better, let me know in the chat.
There you go. Scott Adams says, I love the Reds, but man, do I feel for you guys for having to cover this mess of a team. Y'all are the best. Keep on keeping on. Yes, Scott. It's tough. I don't even know. I'll tell you what I feel like. I feel like back when I was like, I don't know, maybe just in high school. I remember turning on the radio one time. Why I remember this, I don't know. But I turned on the radio one time, and they were talking about the Reds. And the Reds at that time were terrible. I mean, they were. I think they were even worse than what they are, today. And I thought to myself, what in the hell are they talking about the Reds for? Like, what a waste of time. Of all the things that you could talk about, we're talking about this team? And I'm sure somebody right now, my younger self, would tune into this show and think, what idiots. Chad Williams says, outside of Sal and Ellie, is anyone else on the 40-man roster after this season an everyday player next year? Maybe McLean. A lot of platoons in our future is his guess.
Yeah,
Don't say Blade. Listen, don't
yeah,
say
well,
Blade.
I would say Blade is like, but he's probably a platoon. He's had serviceable numbers against left-handed pitching over his career, so he's one of those guys I probably wouldn't play against left-handed pitching on MLB The Show, but I'm not going to put a stink about it in the real show.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. JJ Bleday, thankfully, had a hell of a month and a half. But people don't like to hear it. Water's finding its level.
It's a scary thought. Yeah. I mean, I guess, Spencer Steer, I guess, although I've never been convinced that Spencer Steer is, it's a good exercise because there's really only two legitimate players that both handedness of pitchers you feel good about on any given night, with Tyler Stevenson going, because Tyler Stevenson right now would be in that spot. But yeah, I mean, they're the only two. And then Steer and Bleday and McLean are like the next three kind of hovering, in my opinion, but they're not. Scary thought.
It's a scary thought because it tells you how unstable this roster is. Noah Schneider says, running a hit and run. He's getting into the semantics of the game. I love it. Noah, we're getting into the game, baby. Let's talk about it. X's and O's. Running a hit and run with Trevino stealing and Hayes at the plate is genuinely the most brain-dead thing that I've ever seen. Game has passed up Tito. Noah's going all in. He's seen enough. I would have loved to see Noah's face as soon as Trevino started taking off. Good news is that Hayes Hayes should be getting a strike. That would be the positive. David Shaw, seen David today, said, thanks, Trace. Asked for the rant earlier, and you provided. Thanks again for earlier. Fun day. Reds organization broke Tito. Or Tito broke the Reds organization. Maybe both. I don't know. Thank you, David. Appreciate seeing you. He was out at Pipestone today in the Chatterbox Championship golf event. Daniel Madison said, Bob Castellini's age reflects how this team is run. It's written. Am I allowed to read? Listen, I'm going to openly say this is freedom of speech on this show. I appreciate it. There's no foul language in this. I'm going to say that I'm going to read it as if I'm Ron Burgundy, so you can't get mad at me. Bob Castellini's age reflects how this team is ran. It's ridden with dementia and insanity. It's mind-boggling how awful this team is. The lineup that was marched out today should have you drawn and quartered. Gosh darn dude. Not happy with the lineup. I don't blame. I mean, listen, we got a lot of guys that are not good. Not just not good, but really, really bad. I mean, I know that you've tried to been a staunch defender of Hayes, Nick, but I mean, he's just, they're praying that he makes a comeback that's even remotely close to being a borderline big league player. And that's just because they obviously made a pretty big investment in him. And by big, I'm talking about relative to the production. Hayes probably makes about as much money as Ohtani does per home run, if I had to guess. Dr. 4735 says, first time chatter, love the show. You guys are great as the Reds are bad. Thank you. Dr. 4735 coming in again and said, Reds kept Stevenson, Singer, Gino, etc. at the deadline because these are the last two revenue generating months until 2028. Need a ruse to sell tickets. And that's my thing, though. Like, if I'm being, that's a fair point. In fact, that's going to be my last segment on this show. If that was the real decision, was that we can't sell all these we can't sell all these guys at the deadline, because if you lose Singer and you lose Stevenson and you were to trade, Burke or whoever else, it doesn't matter, at the deadline to get back something in return, it would make this team look horrendous, and you just want to kind of save face slightly because there's a month and a half left of the season of good weather that you possibly could get crowds to. Do we really think? I guess my thing is, like, Nick, do we really think that there's that high of a percentage of the fan base that pays attention to the actual roster that closely to decide whether they go or don't go to the games? That seems crazy to me. Now, maybe that's the concept that they've come up with at the front office and the ownership group, but people are going to go to the games just to go to the games. They're not going to the games because they have to see Tyler Stevenson. They have to see Brady Singer. They have to see some, couple random bullpen arms that we could have thrown in whatever deals possible. I don't believe that for a second, but I do get the concept that he brings up, which is, hey, we might not have any revenue coming in for another year. I don't care what you do. We're not trading these guys just to make sure for sure that we're not going to lose any money at the gate.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy to me. I it's a good thought. There's no way that moves the needle that much in terms of how much revenue they're bringing in. I think most people, they're either just going to the game as they're going to an event, or they're a sicko that's going to go to the game either way. The only way you're really going to draw that extra group is if you're winning. And I don't think anyone with a brain thought that. I think it's if I put my tinfoil hat on here, I think it's far more likely that the manager, who clearly has the ear of the Reds ownership, as you saw in that clip a couple weeks ago, hasn't lost 90 games since he was in Philadelphia back in a different century, and doesn't want to lose 90 games this year, and said to the Reds ownership, I don't want to lose 90 games. I didn't come here to lose 90 games. Don't trade away these players, because they give, if you get rid of them, this season has a real chance of going off the rails. That's my thought.
Yeah, which is just dumb. But here we are. All right. Thank you to everybody who supered. That was very, very kind of you, and we very much appreciate the support on this show. If you haven't already, hit the like button. That would be fantastic as well. Download the podcast and leave us a review. That also is always a great thing for us. So thank you. We're going to keep on keeping on, and we'll do our best to try to be as like I said, be as informative as possible, but at the same time, there ain't no reason to sit here and try to lie about stuff. All right, Reds MILB, Nick, which is probably your favorite segment.
Absolutely. Your Reds MLB presented by 78 Cigars. Cincinnati legend Anthony Munoz has a new venture, and we're fired up to partner with it here on Chatterbox Reds. Introducing 78 Cigars, a premium cigar line from the Hall of Famer himself. If you love great cigars in Cincinnati football history, well, this is the perfect combination. You can grab 78 Cigars right now at both Montgomery locations or over at Creekside Cigar Company. You can also check them out online. Just head to anthonymunoz.com. Click on the 78 Cigars page and learn more, or place your order today. That's 78 Cigars from the greatest offensive lineman to ever do it, Anthony Munoz. All right, we start off with AAA, where the Louisville Bats, they won 5-1 over Toledo. Bats split their series with Toledo. A couple notable pitchers in this one. Tony Santillan actually started this game and threw a perfect inning of relief, or the perfect inning. He has 2 perfect innings so far with the Bats over this weekend. So Santillan maybe going to be activated here maybe on Monday or Tuesday with the Reds having a doubleheader. We'll see about that, but good stuff from Tony Santillan. Also good stuff for Brandon Williamson. He came in after Santillan, went 3 2/3 innings. They gave up 5 hits, but only 1 run, 0 walks. Love to see that. And 2 strikeouts after kind of a rough start to his rehab. Last 2 games have been pretty good. 5 2/3 innings, just that 1 run, only 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. Also good to see Connor Phillips threw a perfect inning with 2 strikeouts. Phillips has only allowed 1 run over his last 5 appearances. That spans over 6 1/3 innings. So hopefully Phillips can get back into the big leagues. Be nice to see him in the year on the big league roster. Have some positive momentum going into 2027. Edwin Arroyo had a big day. He was 3 for 4 with a double and hit his 15th home run of the year. Juan Brito hit his first home run since joining the Reds organization, his 10th of the season. Good day as well from Leo Balcazar. He was on base 3 times, 1 for 2 with a double and a pair of walks. Down to Double-A, the Chattanooga Lookouts struggles continue. They lost 15-3 to Montgomery. Lookouts now 10 games below 500. They are 6-19 over the last 25 games. Cam Collier, his tough season continued. He was 0 for 4. Good day there from Carlos Sanchez. He was 2 for 4. Yerlin Confidant has been one of the biggest bright spots with Chattanooga. He has a 7-game hit streak. He's hitting .340 in the month of August. He was on base 3 times on Sunday, 1 for 2 with a double and a pair of walks. And Keen Vu hit his 3rd home run of the season. Now on the pitching side, Javi Rivera had a very rough day. Didn't make it out of the 2nd inning, gave up 7 hits and 11 earned runs, 4 walks, no strikeouts. High A, the Dayton Dragons, they were canceled. They don't play Lake County again this season, so that game was officially canceled due to rain. Last but not least, the Daytona Tortugas, they continue to play incredible baseball. They won 12-2 over Palm Beach. Tortugas now 15-4 in their last 19 games, and they've opened up an 8-game lead in their division with just 18 games left in the regular season. Arnaldo Lantigua had a huge day. He was on base 4 times, 1 for 2 with 3 walks. Ichiro Kano on base 3 times, 2 for 4 with the walk. Kyle Henley, 2 for 5, so his 31st base of the season. Steele Hall, Jervin Murillo, Adolfo Sanchez, and Lai Lavu all out of the lineup on Sunday. But one player we haven't mentioned here on Chatterbox Reds I think is worth mentioning, Jalen Hairston. He was on base 4 times on Sunday. He's a third baseman outfielder, kind of has come out of nowhere. He's hitting .378 with a .481 on base percentage since July 1st. Last 33 games, a .186 WRC plus. So good stuff from Jalen Hairston. That is my favorite segment of the day, your Reds MLB report.
My favorite segment of the day, and the only reason why it's my favorite at this point is because it's at least moving on to the next day, which is what is next. Unfortunately, for those that are looking to watch some good baseball, the chances of it at least come perhaps 2 different times, Nick, tomorrow.
A nice 5-game series here with the St. Louis Cardinals. 2 games on Monday, 1:40 and 6:40. Then Tuesday and Wednesday at 6:40, Thursday at 12:40. Don't have a whole lot of pitchers announced yet. The first game at 1:40 tomorrow is TBD. Fangraphs is saying Chase Petty, your likely starter for the Reds, against Quinn Matthews of the Cardinals. So probably bullpen games or some version of that for both teams in Game 1. Game 2, the 6:40 game will be Rhett Lauder against Andre Palante. If the rest of the series holds true, it would be Tuesday would be Abbott against Kyle Lehigh. Wednesday would be Chase Burns against Matthew Liberatore, and Thursday would be Brady Singer against Michael McGreevy. But a 5-game series against the Cardinals, I'm sure there'll just be a lot of rational takes with Sal Stewart and JJ Weatherholt. Completely just genuine takes. I'm looking forward to that over the next couple days.
Yeah, and also I want to openly say that I am Team Sal. I know that I might be biased. I'm sure that some people would say that I'm only saying that because I'm biased. I think that Sal gets a bad rap, obviously because of the position he plays, and we're going to hide behind the concept that Weatherholt can play defensive or play a good defensive second base, and that's really, really tough to find. That's why you value him. We're also going off of some of the same metrics that people tell me that Matt McLean's not a good defender. So I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm not totally buying it. But Team Sal, personally. Now, To be fair, I've seen Weatherholt play like 2 games this year, so might be biased.
No, you're going to see 5 by the end of the day on Thursday.
Looking forward to it. I absolutely have got my alarm clock set tomorrow morning. First pitch is in the calendar, and I have my pregame notes ready to be studied tomorrow with my morning coffee. Can't wait for it, Nick, and can't wait to do this all again with you yet again. Can't wait. I can't contain my excitement. Looking forward to more Reds baseball.
We will be live after game 2, just to clarify.
Yes.
We don't, even when they're winning, we don't do the first game of a doubleheader. Definitely not doing it now. You got a buzzer beater from Jay Tenzel.
Yeah, and it's going to stay a buzzer beater for Jay Tenzel. Shout out to Jay Tenzel, though. He is a loyal super chatter, and I appreciate the humor. But we're going to keep it that way because this is a kid's show. And on that note, we'll be back here, as always, better than ever tomorrow. Or at least we hope. Take care, everybody. Go Reds.